Awesome.
Nice job, team.
Nice. It worked out. All right, I see some chats.
Yes,
I see some people in the chat. I just want you to know it's very important for me that you know that it wasn't my fault that we're late.
It was.
I know.
I'm just backing you up here.
Yeah,
it was definitely not Alicia's fault. It was also not my fault. So we just want to let you know that it was neither of our fault that we're late. But let's just tune into this for a second.
This is our talking music, our welcome music. Welcome to the interview for Noted the Untold Stories. I'm super happy that y'all are joining. I got my brother Jay Shetty here.
So grateful to be with you, Alicia. You're stealing everything I was going to say.
Oh, my fault.
No.
I know. He's supposed to do the interview. What am I talking for? We're just vibing the Lala while we were waiting for the technical difficulties. Thank y'all for vibing the Lala. Make sure you run it back and keep just getting lost in the la-la.
Yeah, I'm seeing so much love flying through the chat as well. Keep those questions coming because we'll be asking some of those questions to Alicia later on.
So how do you, like I said to the people before, like the On Purpose podcast that I did with you is one of my favorites. You obviously really enjoy getting into people's minds. Are you going to get into my mind right now?
That is the plan. The plan right now. But the thing is with Alicia, it's easy. So she's giving me the credit. But actually, the credit goes to her because she's the one who just opens her heart to share with all of us. And for those of you that have been watching Noted already, you already have seen glimpses into Alicia's incredible heart and mind.
Wow.
And today we get to dive in deep together. So it is my honor. It is my privilege. And I'm so grateful, Alicia, that you have allowed us in.
Thank you.
Not just through Noted, which is just an incredible entrance into your mind and heart, but this opportunity that we get to have together with your amazing community online.
I love you guys.
To actually sit down and dive deeper into your untold stories.
Wow, how deep are we gonna dive? I'm ready.
We're gonna dive.
It's been a deep dive already, and it's so unusual for me because I think I've been trained since the very beginning of entering this business to be very secretive and to be very contained with your personal information, and I'm glad because I think it served me really well, and there's to a degree there's oversharing and everybody just doesn't know everything, but we are in a different time in life and people are much more open, and I think there is something really powerful about sharing your story because I'm learning that there's a liberation that comes with that, and that's what I've been feeling. So I'm just glad that everybody's been connecting with it. I love you guys. I see Sammy.
You're everyone's favorite. Look at this. Everyone's saying Alicia's their favorite from Macedonia.
Wow.
I love that. But yeah, Alicia, first of all, I just want to say to everyone who's watching back at home, keep commenting, keep liking, and make sure you get an opportunity to share this because I'm sure there are so many people who can't be with us live right now that are going to want to watch this afterwards.
Same.
So grab the link, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, spread the word because we're going to dive deep into Noted, the untold stories of Alicia Keys. And Alicia, I want to start off with a question, which is what you just shared right now was really interesting to me. You've been told your whole career to keep things private, to keep things behind the scenes.
Right.
Why was right now the right time to share honestly, vulnerably, more than you've ever done before?
I just felt like, I'm really experiencing an opening in myself and a shift. And it started with my book, More Myself. That was the beginning of starting to get into these deeper stories and what did they mean, and looking back on them and realizing the parts I played in them, the parts other people played in them. And so Noted the Untold Stories, it felt like the perfect moment to just open up the door because I'm in a place that I feel more comfortable, I feel more confident, and I actually can understand in retrospect now what happened and why it happened and why it served a bigger picture that I didn't even know was supposed to happen. I think obviously a lot of us have experiences that happen and then you look back 5 years later and that, even though I thought that was horrible, that's why that happened. And there's a power there, and I just really am forcing and encouraging myself to continue to open, and it leads actually to the music. There's actually some new music in the series as well, which I love. It's a little tease. I know y'all already got it and y'all already been debating it and sharing what you love, but I think that what leads me to the new music is the security of knowing that your journey is yours alone and special. and actually worth sharing, because it only releases it from you, and also releases other people, or encourages other people to release their baggage, you know, or whatever that is.
Absolutely. You reminded me of a beautiful statement by Steve Jobs where he says that you can't connect the dots moving forward. You only can when you're looking backwards. And that's what you've been doing. And that's what you're doing for all of us. And I think we have to understand that when we're watching someone, things may also not make sense to us, but we've got to be patient and give them the time to share that story when it makes sense to them.
That's amazing.
And so I think we have to have that compassion and empathy, because when we're looking at someone's journey, we're like, well, why are they doing that? Or why did they do that? And so one of the things that I found so beautiful, and I'm sure those of you who have seen Noted, you know this. If you haven't, make sure you go and see it. In episode 1, you introduced us to the journey with your mother.
Right.
And for those of you who've read the book, you've had glimpses of this, but when you're speaking to her, when she's speaking to you, you talk about this incredible conversation you've had.
Right.
And I want to know, had you had that conversation with her before this conversation? And is it a conversation you encourage all children to have with their parents?
Oh my gosh, that's so powerful and deep, because I think that what I definitely realized is we hadn't had that level of conversation before. And as I was actually thinking about different things, I kept finding myself saying, how come I never asked my mother that? How come I never asked my mother that? Like, you know, how come I never asked my mother how it felt for her to be a single mother? Like, I never asked her, how was that for her?
Yeah.
I assumed things, or I knew from different things I saw or whatever. And even things like, you know, I moved out of my home, my mother's house at 16. And as a mom now, I'm like, I would never let my kid move out the house at 16. I'd be like, are you fucking crazy? Go to your room and take a break. If you need to like take a walk, maybe, but you're not moving out. But I said, why didn't I ask my mother what about that? I don't even think that actually got into this particular, because we got into much deeper things. But I do encourage that that I realize that I'm grateful that I have this now of us. Like, I have this of us that I can, my kids can look back to, and I can look back to. And I realize that you don't conversate with the people that you love as much as you might think you do. You definitely talk to them about their day, and you check in, maybe can we visit, and you have dinner, and you say, this is what happened this week. But like, going back, you don't really ask those questions. So yeah, I do encourage people to ask the people in your life that you're really wondering about their experience. Like, ask them, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. For anyone who's just tuned in right now, as you can see, there's a conversation with Alicia Keys. Alicia is talking about her new docuseries, Noted, Alicia Keys, The Untold Stories. We're going to be taking your questions, so make sure you're tweeting us questions, sharing them in the chat, and any thoughts. We can see all the love flying through.
Yeah, we can.
And we both deeply appreciate it from all over the world. But
big love.
Alicia, what you just said there is really, it's really impacted what I thought, because it's amazing that you're saying that was actually the first time you had that conversation with her. And most people are not going to document their lives or share it with the world. And so that makes me go, how many people out there haven't had these conversations? So I love that not only are you doing it and showing us how to do it, but you're encouraging others to go out there and do this too.
Oh man.
And the second episode goes into,
wow. The second episode
it is such a beautiful, incredible leap that you took to share with us that second episode. Because I want to find out how you felt when your father says that he regrets not being there for you and wishes he was there for you more. I want to know, how do you feel when you hear something like that?
You know, the second episode is so powerful because it really starts with my relationship with Crucial, which was my first production partner, as well as my first like real relationship. And I realized that a lot of what I was probably looking for in Crucial had a lot to do with what I was and he actually fulfilled a lot of ability and somebody I could depend on, and somebody who really like helped me and was a part of, you know, you guys know the music that we created together, and it's some of the greatest music I ever did, and that was our destiny, you know. But I think you really see the connection between Crucial and my father, and me looking for myself and trying to find my kindred spirits, because you know, it's hard to find people that you really connect with and that are really for you and really there for you. And I think a lot of times I struggle with that, with wondering that. And that's why I keep my circle so tight and it's very small, because of that. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have felt like that in your life too, like who to trust and who to disclose these things to. It's sometimes feels tricky. So when I was able to have that conversation with my father, that was definitely the first conversation that we've had like that. And I didn't even know I didn't know where it was gonna go. I had different things I wanted to just ask or share. And I was grateful that he was open to it. And we've definitely, I mean, we're much closer now. We have definitely healed through many things with the passing of my grandmother, and which is his mother. And we've like moved forward in so many big strides. But I hadn't ever asked him, is there anything you regret? And he hadn't ever told me he regretted. You know, when he said that, I was grateful, I think, for the acknowledgement, you know, because I think in some way the kid in you wants to be acknowledged that they felt lonely and that they felt left out, you know. And so although I don't need his validation anymore, and that's important too. I think a lot of times we need people to validate us. I don't. But I felt thankful that he shared that. And what I especially felt thankful for was when he said, I should have had the courage or the strength to be there for your mother too. And I remember feeling like, but where is he? Like, why wouldn't he? You know, I remember asking my mother these things, and I really appreciated him acknowledging that even as a man now. And because he was also a boy, you know, like you got to give people some grace, you know. They come into things we were just talking about. A lot of times you plan to have a house, you plan for your job, and a lot of times you don't end up planning for kids, and it's kind of, it happens, and you're like, whoa, and you try to figure it out. And so he was a boy, he was a young man when this all happened. How is he supposed to know all these things? And there's layers to this thing, you know. So anyway, when he said that, I felt really thankful. I felt grateful. I felt relieved, maybe, and I felt open, you know, and looking forward to continuing these type of dialogues. And again, realizing that we don't spend enough time with each other one-on-one. Just anyone you love. Like a lot of times you're with your whoever, and then there's this person all around you. So how deep can you actually get? So when you're one-on-one with a person and they can actually open up and share with you, it's very, very special. So I'm grateful for that particular part, and I really wanted that to be in the series because I know that a lot of people have experienced growing up without their father, and it does something to you. It's a part of who you become, and I wanted to really talk about that. There's a healing that can happen, and there is a way that you can actually have a good relationship with somebody who you thought was maybe not in your life as much. You can get there, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I want to take a moment, Alicia, just for everyone who's watching. I'm sure you're feeling healed and moved by these words that you're hearing, because when I hear things like this, I automatically go to, who do I need to heal with in my own life? Like when I'm hearing you and when I'm watching you in Noted, like I'm watching that going, reflecting it into my life. And you're acting like a mirror for us all, in my opinion.
I love it.
Where I'm watching going, well, who in my life do I need to call up after this episode? And what do I need to say to them? Because when you watch something in that way, with Alicia unraveling her journey, she's allowing us to unravel our own journey. And I think that that's where this work that Noted is trying to do for all of us really takes shape, because it can allow us to go there to places we may be scared to go to.
Oh my gosh.
And so your courage to go there.
It is scary to go. It really is scary to go.
What was that first step of that healing journey? You just said, and what you said, I love that you're there. Like, I love you're at that place where even your approach is saying, you know, my father, he was a young boy, he didn't know, you know, that level of compassion, that depth of perspective. What was the first tiny step towards that healing journey? What was like the first thing to open up that pathway?
To be honest, the first thing to open up that pathway was to completely ask him to not be a part of my life.
Yeah.
I actually had to say, like, I just need to not even worry about any of this or think about any of it. And I just need this space. I don't want to have to feel these things that I feel and these torn emotions that I feel. And this was a while ago, you know, this was, call it, you know, I don't know, even 5, 6 years ago. This was a little bit of time ago. But that was actually the first part that I realized that I was able to heal because I was able to also demand my space and my boundaries and just identify what was happening to me. Like I was realizing that every time I would get on the phone and if there was like, you know, and if something came up and he couldn't make it, it crushed me in a way that it just like, listen, the person can't make it. It's okay. Like they can't make it. But it was so much history of not being able to make it that it hurt in a way that and I was feeling it, but I would try to brush it off and I'm fine, it's cool, but it bothered me. And so I had to definitely just come to terms with what I was feeling and ask for the space to feel it and kind of let it go. And that started the opening.
That's I mean, I'm so glad that you said that was the first step, because often people think the first step is forgiveness or empathy, and it's like that's not the first step. That's where you want to get to,
right?
And you've just shown us that distance doesn't mean disrespect. Like distance doesn't have to be disrespectful to the other person,
right?
It can be creating a safe space for yourself.
Yeah, you can call you. I needed to take care of myself, and sometimes, you know, that there comes a point where you just do, you know, you just do, and that's hopefully all the time you take care of yourself, obviously, and of course you want to take care of others, but you can't take care of your others if you're not taking care of yourself.
For sure. I can see all the comments flying through.
Let me see what y'all are saying.
Beautiful.
Love is Blind. I'm addicted to the song. Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite songs. Love is Blind is for sure. We got La La Unlocked that y'all are loving that. Thank you so much for all of that. We have this idea of protecting yourself is for sure. Thank you for keeping it real. Reminds me of, oh my gosh, it's going so fast I can't read it. Reminds me of how do you deal with unsatisfying answers? Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's a big question.
This is going to be hard.
This is like, Alicia's the fastest reader on top of every other skill she has. I've just discovered that she can speed read comments too, because this is literally moving so fast.
Unsatisfying answer? I wish I could read that
question.
Entire thing. Was there like a way I could go back to that? How do you deal with unsatisfying answer from a parent? Ooh. You know, I think that that it kind of goes back to what I just said, which was that, you know, if it's not, even if it's the people closest to you, if it's not feeling fulfilling for you and it's feeling like it's depleting you, I do believe that there's a version where you have to claim your space. And to Jay's point, that doesn't mean you have to be nasty and disrespectful and whack about it, but you can definitely say, this is my choice. You know, and you can express how you feel. If you feel unsatisfied, there's a reason why you feel unsatisfied. If they can't give you anything further, you know, you can't make them, you know. So in some ways, I think you have to kind of come to terms with how it feels for you and then decide, does that mean that you'd like to shift how you're interacting with this relationship? Because you get to choose what energy you bring around you, no matter who it is. And that's just the truth, you know. Man, that was a good question. I got the comments up for here. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we can see them here now. Thank you guys for that beautiful question. You've actually asked a lot of questions earlier on Twitter. If that's okay, I want to switch to those Twitter questions. So these questions came in through Twitter when Alicia asked you for what questions you have. So a few of you are going to get some shout outs here from Alicia for those of you who sent them early. This is a really, really great question. This is from Sharon. She says, in what part of the docuseries did you feel the most vulnerable? And did you ever have second thoughts about releasing any of it?
Well, there was a part that I didn't release, actually. And yet, I mean, there was, you know, mostly I feel very comfortable sharing, you know, and if I'm not comfortable, I don't share. You know, I think that's, you know, again, back to boundaries. Like, I'm big on boundaries. If it pops up in your spirit that feels like, this is a little bit more that I'm personally ready to handle, you got to just honor that. So I'm getting better at that. I'm getting really good at that. But there was a moment where I actually spoke to my mother during that conversation. Like I said, we covered a lot of stuff, but one of the things we talked about was there is a connection between us, obviously a deep connection. She raised me. She's my best friend. She's everything to me. And there is a deep connection that we have in regards to sometimes how she relates to me. And I actually addressed it for clearly. And she asked me, I asked her, what's something that kind of bugs you that I do?
Mm.
And she asked me, what's something that bugs you that I do? Which
Such
is
a good
awesome.
question.
It was
Such
so
a good
awesome.
question.
And so, you know, we talked about this kind of relationship that we have, and how sometimes I feel like there's like just an energy that she holds sometimes that affects me. And she really felt like it was important to know that. She really said, I know that that was what it was, but I feel like I really have changed that. Can you acknowledge that that's changed? Because a lot of times when you talk about me outwardly, I notice you bring that up and it hurts me.
Mm.
And I was like, oh shit. That was another moment that I was like, I didn't even think that maybe as I'm expressing some of the ways that I feel to different interviews and different people, that this hurts her this hurts her. And she shared that with me, and I was like, wow. And I had to really take inventory on that. And she did as well. She was like, I really want us to move past that. And I'm really working hard to do that. And I apologized to her, and she apologized to me. And it was in that moment. And when I told you, but at the time I said, you know, I don't want to focus on that in this piece. There's other pieces that I want to focus on about her. And if that's something that hurts her, I don't want to keep rehashing that piece. You know what I mean? So I took it out. So going back to things that maybe got vulnerable, or even just not to be something I want to repeat.
Yes.
You know, because it perpetuates it.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, because we wouldn't have known otherwise. So Sharon, thank you for your question. I love this comment from Jamie Moffat. It says, Alicia, the psychologist, you have so many talents.
I feel like a psychologist.
Yeah, everyone's loving the psychology that you're taking it through. We've got another question coming in here, and this question on Twitter is from Carolyn. And Carolyn says, what's your advice on a happy marriage, seeing that you and Swizz have been married for so long?
Oh, now here we go. Let's go therapy. You know, my advice is like, you know, obviously you got to be friends. I think that you really have to be friends. You have to like have fun together, and you have to like to talk to each other and enjoy to hear about what each other's going through. I think you have to be comfortable with space. I think there's a lot of relationships that sometimes you feel like it's not love if you're not like constantly together, or if you're not constantly like all up in their situation. And I think it's a little bit obsessive because, you know, because you do love them, and because you don't want anybody else to occupy it, and, you know, able to be together. And I'm grateful. I'm proud of us.
That's beautiful. And congratulations.
Thank
it's
you
amazing.
too.
Yeah, it's amazing to see you both having known each other since your teens.
Seriously.
I mean, to see that journey, which you share so beautifully on episode 3, like to see that whole evolution. For those of you who have not seen that, and if you have more questions about Alicia's relationship and Swizz and how they manage it, that's the episode to watch.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But I find that incredible. I love the Keep It Real Thursday. I think everyone has to have one of those days where you can just say it as it is.
Say it.
And one of the biggest things you just mentioned that really hit me was this idea of vision. And you said that each person has to have their own vision. And what I find is when only one person has a vision, the other person forces themselves to choose to follow their vision.
Right.
And then they lose theirs in the process.
Right.
And so what you said there about you have to have your own vision,
right,
is such a significant thing. You don't have to trade your vision or
for somebody else's, or give yours up for somebody else's. Even when you're supporting them, you can still support people's vision and maintain your own, which I think is really powerful. What you guys are saying, I see some Ethiopia on here. Just want to check in with you. We probably have to wrap up soon. I'm actually finishing up some music for y'all. That's where we are. We're in the studio right now. These are some of my favorite records in the back. We got Daft Punk, Amy Winehouse. We even have Dolly Parton over there. We have Radiohead. Good vibes, good music, and definitely Alicia Keys' music is popping in this room.
And this was the studio that you recorded it.
This is where a majority of all the songs you're gonna hear were recorded. Obviously, Lala was in the Bahamas, which you also see in episode 4. That's where I was able to run into J. Cole. We had an incredible combo and some good music vibes. And Sway Lee, we wrote there. And I've also been doing some writing with Raphael Sadiq, which has been crazy because he's a legend and just a really musical, incredible, timeless being. So that's been crazy.
I've got to read you this comment. Alicia, you're my favorite human musician being on earth. I love these. These comments are just so beautiful, everyone.
Love
That's
that.
sending them through.
Human musician being.
Yeah, we're going to ask
Yay!
one final question from your questions to Alicia. There are so many. And I want to apologize to you for those that we didn't get to because there's a ton of great questions. This is the final question that we're going to do. And it is... Okay, there's so many.
I know. He's like, wait, the final one.
Okay, here we go. This is a question from Lilo. And she says, what's one lyric in a song you wrote that gives you chills till this day?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Oh my God.
That's a hard question. So we're going to give Alicia some time.
All right.
There's a lot of dope.
All right. All right. I actually have my phone right here attached to the speaker. And there is a song that I wrote with Emily Sandy. And it's called 101. You're used to the sound of a heart that's breaking. Let me get that. This song is so crazy lyrically to me. Is it up? There it goes. This one is so dark and so honest. You're used to the sound of a heart that's breaking. I know it don't hurt you anymore. You know. Let's hear these first 3 lines because I think these are one of them. You're used to the sound of a heart that's breaking. Used to the sound of a heart that's breaking. I know it don't phase you anymore. You're the king of the game that you're playing. You're the king of the game that you're playing. I know you played it 100 times before. You fill your bedroom up with trophies. Then you get a kick out of closing the door. Got all the words to keep them hoping. I know you said them 100 times before. And then it says, then there's me, a fox to your gun. Then there's me, a fox for your gun. Then there's me, just love me for fun. Then there's me, no use in pretending. Then there's me, 101. It's like you've done it 100 times before, and I'm gonna be 101. That song. Wow. I know you said release a video. Honestly, I'm gonna do that because that song. So that's one of my favorite. But it's hard to choose. That was a great show. I mean, we've got the chills. So you delivered. Everyone's got the chills now. Listening to that at home. I want to thank each and every one of you for turning up today live with me and Alicia. I want to make sure that you share this, pass this on, and encourage everyone to go and watch Noted, Alicia Keys' The Untold Stories. It will give you an incredible entrance into the behind the scenes of everything that we love Alicia for in the most vulnerable, honest, and courageous way. And today you've just shown me even more again, just, why everyone here loves you, but why you're so deeply worthy of all the love you deserve. Thank you so much. You really are opening up your life so that we can open up our own. And I want everyone to recognize that the work Alicia's doing is not just for her or by her, it's for us. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that. Thank you too. I'm going to ask you if there was one song you wanted me to sing a snippet of, what would it be? While I also say thank you to Jay, because you are a very, very special human. And I'm so happy that you're on the planet. And On Purpose is such a beautiful podcast and a whole concept of how to live like on purpose. So everything that you're doing, don't forget to check out Jay. He is up to some amazing stuff that's going to fulfill you in all the right places. You fulfill me for sure. And I'm so glad we could have this conversation. Nobody else I want to have this conversation with. I don't know. Is there a song you want me to sing? We got No One. We got Goodbye. We got Butterflies. Wow, Butterflies. Thank you for everything. We got Love Is Blind. We got Diary. Love Is Blind. I've seen Love Is Blind a few times. Okay, we got Love Is. Oh my! I don't even know Underdog. We got Underdog. We had You Save Me. Illusion of Bliss. Y'all are real. Y'all are the real ones. If I Ain't Got You, I love you back. Unthinkable. Oh, okay. I'm gonna do lesson learned.
Oh, there we go.
Can I even remember the beginning of it? Lesson learned is my song. I know that I have the chorus definitely in my head, and it goes, "Yes, I was burned, but I call it a lesson learned. Mistakes overturned, so I call it a lesson learned. My soul has returned, so I call it a lesson learned. Another lesson learned." And maybe that's perfect for this note of the untold stories, because it is all just a lesson. You know, everything that you are going through, all the hardships that you're going through, the challenges that you're experiencing, they are a lesson for us to grow from. It's a lesson learned. And there's a saying that says, turn your tests into testimony. You're going to turn your tests into testimony. And that's what I believe this is, my testimony. And I love your testimony. I love your experience and your journey. And it is so, so powerful. So another lesson learned is a beautiful step in the ladder. So as opposed to feeling bad about whatever is going on, or, you know, feeling like this is, you know, I keep making mistakes, or I keep finding myself in these same situations, you know, learning the lesson is like super deep. You guys are amazing. I see Nat King Cole on there. That means you watched it. That's a song that's coming from the next music. You're incredible. I love you guys so much. You don't know my name we got on here. Loving you. Oh my gosh. Underdog. You guys are so incredible. And the shows are coming soon, by the way. So we're gonna be together ASAP singing all of these songs. I love, 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 love you. Talk to you later.
Thank you, everyone. Thank